Vincenzo'S Go Crypto Investing and bringing you another update on this fabulous, beautiful laptop that we have for you as we invest into the company to keep you up to date in fleece, heist, and shiest. The market manipulators, as you sign up and become members of Jabroni Killers, as we have now 8 members of Jabroni Killers. I can't believe it. You can't believe it. YouTube can't believe it. None of us can believe it. In the membership field, as a YouTube perk, that we have now accumulated 8 Jabroni Killer members that want to sidestep and audible the criminal gangsters and become first movers and get the first mover advantage, right? By becoming members of Jabroni Killers, because you get the information first on my trades if I'm in or out of the market. We had our first fiscal and monetary policy Fridays. It was a nearly 40-minute long video, right? 2 parts, because it got split up into 2. And it's a very informative video, and we have Commodity Mondays coming up in a couple of days in our industry exclusive, groundbreaking, channel only to Vincenzo'S Go Crypto Investing Jabroni Killer members. Commodity Mondays, that's right, Commodity Mondays. All things commodities, oil, gold, silver, natural gas, nickel, right, copper, uranium, platinum, palladium, all the good stuff that you need to know about with the EV markets if you're in the EV sector. Right, the more mining equipment that you have for cryptos, they have to use silver and conductive metals, right? All this stuff has to do into the basket that you need to know and understand in order to be a probability technical trader, to weight the probabilities in your favor. And that's what we do at Vincenzo'S Go Crypto Investing with our probability based, one-of-a-kind, company-made trading system, right? And let's see what we got going on here now. We got the Bitcoin, right? We're gonna do these all in the, since it's the weekend, the daily time. The daily's always too far out. We'll do the, I like the 3 hour. I always say 3 or 4 hour, but the 3 hour for point of me talking to you guys works out beautifully, right? And if you see what we got going on here, we are in the logarithmic, what we want. You can see with our perching tool. First, let's get rid of some of these old perching tools. We need to get this out. Alright, so you can see what we got going on here, right? Get our perching tool back out. And you can see we were in this rising channel. We had upper resistance, lower support, and then we were hitting support and resistance off the rings. And we broke down, and this was our double top right here. If we go way back there, we had a rising wedge top, and then the second top that slightly breached the first high from back in the spring of 2021. This was a rising channel. They're the same things. They're bullish continuation patterns, but they're bearish reversal patterns because they trend up for the short to medium to even long range, but sooner or later they do eventually break down and trade all the way down, and it did down here. When it broke down, it did meet the technical target. That's why we were saying you could trade back up, right? And it did with this orange ring. But the orange ring topped it out. It got slightly higher. It came back up into this traded area, and it was too much sell pressure from here, and all this overhead sell pressure from on its way up last time, right? So the orange ring really was the ultimate where it couldn't hold it because it broke up it, tried to hold it, flushed, and now it's coming back up after a rebottomed, almost rebottomed. It came to about 33,000, 34,000, slightly above the $32,685 target, and now we're back up here. And again, this uptrending blue ring and this descending orange ring is acting as major overhead resistance, and I think we're coming back down to the top part of this white support box with the volume indicator. That's what our white support boxes are on our technical trading chart. And if you want to set up a chart like this, like Vincenzo, join members of Jabroni Killers, or join member of Jabroni Killer just to support the channel if you've always wanted a way to support the channel, because you appreciate the content and it's helped you make trades in a positive and profitable way, right? But it's starting to get topped out here now, so I would look forward to start trading if it can't get over these key areas to trade back down to the top part of this volume indicator. Maybe try to get a slight bounce, but I think you're coming back down. I don't think you have enough fortitude to get up. If you do, this would be your next major traded range over here. If we're out into the future, a few days would be right up in here at about the $44,300 range, where you have resistance, major resistance all in here, and then all kinds of major resistance again, right? And if you break down, you got your local double bottom support, but if it comes back down, you're more likely to break down to this first secondary support right here at 30,000, and then your primary support on this red line right here at 29,683 would be a more major support. And then that would be where I would be looking for if you come back down. I would not think if you trade back down here for a third time, I think you would probably break down. But I'll give an exclusive video on all my weekly calls. As members of Jabroni Killers, Vincenzo's going to start on select coins, put out his weekly call, what he thinks is going to happen, and then we'll revisit as the week goes on to see how that call is actually going on, whether the call is the price to go up or the call is the price to go down. Exclusive to members of Jabroni Killers will get those videos to know where Vincenzo is making his calls on to start each week, and we're going to start to do those on Sunday evenings, put those out for the Sunday night market open, for the weekly market open, right? So that's another exciting thing we're bringing to Vincenzo's Go Crypto Investing Jabroni Killer members, Vincenzo's weekly calls on where he thinks select coins are going to go for the weekly trade, right? So that's what's going on here in the Bitcoin. And then we're going to come make sure this is still recording, because if you've noticed, it likes to just bomb out and explode on itself at random spots without telling me. And then I'll be talking for 10 or 15 minutes and then go back there and be just devastated, right? So let's look at the XRP. Same thing, XRP is coming back up here to this symmetrical triangle, and all it's trying to do now is trying to establish its way back in with our industry exclusive purchasing tools. We're going to start, we're going to start trying to get this a little more fast paced. You can see it's trying to come back in here at the 72 cents. And if it can hold this, you can make a run up here at 95 cents, because this is an 11-month symmetrical triangle that we've broken down out of, broken back into, broken down out of, and now it's broken back into, and it's trying to hold the 72 cent support. So this is your critical line. If it can hold the 72 cents, you can come up to here. If it can't, it's going to come down to here, our short-term target, right? So that's what we got going on here in XRP. Members of Jabroni Killers will get my call for the week on this coin a little bit later tomorrow for the weekly call, right? And you can see we're going to have to zoom out a little bit in the old, I haven't been on this coin in a while, in the old XR or Ethereum, and you can see Ethereum. Let's get some price labels on here. Let's get this up there where it belongs. No, let's get some price labels. You can see where we're at now. We've had our double bottom support. Let's keep that over here at $2,379, right? We got our major overhead resistance up here at $4,351, right? So that's what we're looking at there right now. And you can see that's what I'd be paying attention for here. And then if we zoomed out, I don't have the chart done for our underneath support, so we can zoom out a little bit to the daily time frame, and we can see absolutely where you would be looking at your first major underneath support. You'd be looking at, if it broke down all the way down into, this would be some major support down here, but your first underneath support would be right in here, right? So we'll go ahead and put a little horizontal array tool. This would be about where your first major underneath support would be, back down here at, let's make this a little bit smaller. There we go. Back down here with our price label all the way down at $1,279, right? So that's your major underneath support. So that's what you got to look forward to as we zoom back in now to the 4-hour time frame. Is on Ethereum, you got a double bottom support, right? And if you can hold that, if you do a targeted move on a double bottom support, it probably gets you pretty close. We'll say this is about your neckline. It would probably get you pretty close to that $4,300, right? The neckline, it does. It gets you almost up there. If you can play a double bottom support bounce, your targeted move would be up here. But if you break down that same thing, the double bottom support breakdown probably gets you pretty close to that underneath target at about $1,200, right? And it does. It gets you down to about $1,581, right? So that's what you got to watch out for, is if you can't hold this 2379 uptrending support, you're coming down here. If you can hold it and get above the 200-day and above this little local high, you can make a run up here, right? So that's what you're looking at there. Cardano, you can see we're trying to hold some support. We're coming up into the thick of the moving averages. And in Cardano, if you can't hold, actually we're going to bring our drawing tool out. Cardano, as you're coming up from the moving averages, if you can get up into these moving averages and then get over top of them, you can make a run up at 95 and then a bigger run up to here. But as you do know, a trading rule, look at all these moving averages. The 200, the 100, and the 50, they're all descending. They're all trading down. So if you look at what happens when it does that, rejection, 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 and now we're coming back up again, probably for another rejection. You can see when the moving average is, and this is a Vincenzo trading rule and a technical trading rule in general, but it's taught and it's followed by Vincenzo. When the moving averages are downtrending, they often act as major overhead resistance, and you can see we had a nice bounce, and then it gets into the thick of the moving averages and it has a very hard time moving up, and then it gets forced way down, right? And then it tries to make another run, and then it tries to get to the 200, and then it's probably going to get knocked down. So that's Cardano, your major area. You're running into what would be bearish sentiment by falling or descending moving averages in all the major time frames, right? DGB, as we're looking at, the same thing as XRP, is it's got trying a double bottom support where you have a bottom one, a nice bottom two, but bottom two was slightly lower than bottom one. See that? Bottom one, and then bottom two, it breached it by a good percentage. That's bearish. We're coming up and tried to get out of the last line of defense to the shithouse, the orange support zone, and we got rejected by it. And also, if you notice again, all the moving averages are accelerating in the downward fashion, which would be bearish. And you can see rejection, 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 even peaked over, harsher rejection, right? Because there's so much sell pressure, and you can see these moving averages are accelerating to the down now. So that would be bearish. So if you're trying to trade DGB, your major overhead resistance is this 200-day and this orange support zone, the same as it was the last time we talked about it over here. And you got to get above it with some good volume, then a nice back test, and then start to turn these moving averages up or just slightly sideways and stop going from down, so they can act as a little bit of support, and that could catapult you up to some upper resistance. But that is not what I'm expecting right now. There's just so much bearish sentiment in the market. I think this is going to fall a little bit farther, but could there be some nice pumps? Like if you bought a pump from here and say you ride up into here, that's a nice play, right? But I'm bearish on most of these coins right now, but there will be some pumps in some of these coins, and you just have to be able to identify them and sniff them out, detect them, and get on the right play at the right time. And members of Jabroni Killers, I'm going to try to keep you out ahead of this, right? We knew the market was going to crash last week. The last video I put out before the Russia news broke and the coins collapsed 18 to 20%, I told my Jabroni Killers to be out of that market, right? To sidestep that and to be out, unless you were a long-term hodler and didn't give a fuck, right? They got the first mover advantage. You can see dent. We're still bouncing on the bottom of the top part of this shithouse, right? Jerome likes dent, right? Jerome likes dent, and Derek runs my Telegram because he's a phenomenal guy and he's killing it over there, right? Get you guys members of Jabroni Killers. Give me your Telegram. I'm going to figure out how to link it up with Jabroni Killer, so as you sign up, it just automatically gives you the password or the link that you need. But you can see in that these are descending. We're trying to bounce on the top part of the shithouse, and if we're going to get above and hold this, you can back test this a couple more times. But then you gotta make a bounce up, right? You gotta make some kind of a bounce, and that's what we're going to be waiting for, to see if you can make a bounce. If not, you're going deeper into the shithouse, right? Like, subscribe, and share to Vincenzo's Go Crypto Investing. Peace and love. Peace and love.